So here's Trump right here giving his take on the blasphemous aspect of the replication of the Last Supper. Trump calls it a disgrace, and I agree with him. I'm with you, my guy.
Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually. I thought it was a disgrace.
The mocking of the Last Supper.
I thought it was
Catholics and Christians across the globe are outraged.
I mean, they can do certain things. I thought it was terrible.
Can you say at the next Olympics, if you're present, you'll have enough influence on the organizers that we won't be, insulting Christians?
We won't be having a Last Supper as portrayed the way they portrayed it the other night. I just think, look, I'm for everybody. I'm very open-minded. You understand.
Yeah.
You know me better than most people know me. I'm very open-minded. But I thought what they did was a disgrace.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
You know, when you read about the Passover in regards to what we kept, going into the feast day in commemoration of our Exodus, us fleeing from Egypt, the unleavened bread, the lamb, and the wine. You read that in Exodus, I believe, chapter 12, verses 1 through 14, and also in Leviticus chapter 23, verses 5 through 8. It's going into the Passover. We kept the Passover from the understanding that we were saved, we were salvaged. And the Last Supper is supposed to give you the understanding of the fulfillment that, the proverbial lamb was to be for a sacrifice. So the Last Supper was in celebration of the fulfillment of the prophecy going all the way back to the first Passover, where we celebrated our fleeing from the Exodus, from Egypt, our exit, aka Exodus. Right? So you celebrate the Passover just in commemoration of the understanding that we left Egypt, and it was through the hand of the Most High and His Son. The Most High and His Son. His Son is mentioned throughout the Old Testament if you pay attention. And the Last Supper represents a renewal or a continuation of the covenant that was laid out from the Most High to His people. The continuation of the covenant. We celebrated, we commemorated the Heavenly Father and His Son. His Son sent off to be the sacrificial lamb for the Israelites. So it goes into that understanding just based off of what the Last Supper represents. The blasphemous aspect of what you saw on the Olympics is just that, blasphemy. It's just going into the aspect of the iniquitous nature of the world that we live in, that we reside in. When you talk about the black mass, in regards to the black, white, and red, is in replica on the left hand of the Passover, or the remembrance of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. And the Candlemas aspect, that's going into the left hand understanding of the replication when it comes to the church system. But it's important for us to understand unleavened bread, lamb, horseradish, and this is what we kept. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, This is my body which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. So this is Luke 22 and verse 19, going into the aspect of what we understand the Last Supper to be, right? Likewise also the cup after supper, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table, and truly the Son of Man goeth as it was determined, but woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. So when it comes to the Last Supper, you had the 12 disciples, you had Christ, and the understanding was based in the Passover, the remembering of the Passover, in which the Last Supper that we had for the Passover was in commemoration of Christ transfiguration, where he would be the sacrificial lamb, right? Now we all understand who Judas is. This image right here, or this depiction, is not giving off any depiction of Judas or anything like that, but I just wanted to talk off of this backdrop of an image, because we already understand that our people, they were dark people, and the people that's described in the scriptures are our people. So this is just letting you know these Russian icons go back to the time where we ruled in Europe. But going into Judas, not to get off subject, going into Judas, Judas was one who betrayed Christ. He the one that dipped his hand in the cup, gave Christ a kiss, which would precipitate the fall, just in regards to the understanding as far as him being sacrificed. Not necessarily the fall, but more so the demise, what would come. Judas betrayed Christ for coin, for shekels of silver coins, for capital. So it gives you that understanding of man and, his idolatrous nature of things that are more important than what he should be, putting on a pedestal, what he should be praising. And also just the aspect of one who is greedy and conniving, slimy, so on and so forth. That's mentioned in the book of Matthew, which we'll be going into right now. So Matthew 26 goes into the aspect of the Last Supper further. Verse 17, where it says, "Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying unto him, Wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? And he said, Go into the city to such a man and say unto him, The master saith, My time is at hand, I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Yahushua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now when the even was come, he sat down with the 12. And as they did eat, he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me." So just as we read in Luke, is going into this aspect. It's prophetic. "And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, it is I." Yeah, because most of the people, as far as the ones that were of Israel, some of these people still weren't doing the things that were given unto Israel in regards to the covenant, in regards to the worship, in regards to following the commandments. They went off. They pierced them, as well as the Roman soldiers. Now when the even was come, he sat down with the 12, and as they did eat, he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto the Lord, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him. But woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born." Judas, that's what it's going into. "Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto them, Thou hast said. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is my body." Right. "And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins." So it's just going into the continuation of the old covenant. It's not to do away with it, just as we understand in the book of Matthew chapter 17 and verse 5. So it's just an understanding of the continuation of the old covenant, in which we kept the Passover from us being saved by the hand of Moses. We already understand that Christ and Moses sang the same song, Masha and Hamashiach. Pardon me, I said Matthew 17 and 5. I meant to say Matthew 5 and 17. But think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Right. Because it was all based in what was understood from, back in time where we was in Egypt, as well as just, the old covenant, or the covenant before this new covenant. Right. The fulfillment, just in regards to Christ coming on this earth to be a sacrifice, so on and so forth. This is what we're laying out, just in regards to the parallels between the Passover and the Last Supper. It's the same thing. It's the last feast day of the Passover. And it's important that we keep it. The Last Supper was just in commemoration of the send-off for Hamashiach. We keep it. We keep the feast day. Very, very important. Goes into the aspect of the unleavened bread, in which the bread didn't rise, didn't bake it, because it was hasted. It was in a haste to get us away from what was going on in Egypt in regards to the destruction. We had to flee. We had to move in haste. So that's why the bread is unleavened, because it was bread that didn't rise. We just needed certain necessities. So Mark 14, chapter 12. In the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover, his disciples said unto him, Where wilt thou that we go and prepare, that thou mayest eat the Passover? And he sendeth forth two of his disciples, and saith unto them, Go ye into the city, and there shall meet you a man bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him. And wheresoever he shall go in, say ye to the good man of the house, The master saith, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will shew you a large upper room, furnished and prepared. There make ready for us. So yeah, this is just going into the aspect of the Last Supper. I just wanted to get certain scriptures just for context, giving you the understanding of what the Last Supper is in representation of, or what it's in reference to, what it means. It's just going into remembering Christ in regards to him being the sacrificial lamb, and how it's in connection with the Passover. And his disciples went forth and came unto the city, and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And in the evening he cometh with the 12, and as they sat and did eat, Yahushua said, Verily I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me. So this is just going into the aspect of, the precepts where we read in other books illustrating the Passover. We already understand that Judas was the one that betrayed Christ, Judas Iscariot. But yeah, that's just going into the Last Supper in regards to the understanding. What we saw with the Olympics is just a blasphemous replication of it, just in regards to the Last Supper. Most people aren't comfortable with the truth. And the truth of the matter is, Christ only came and died for Israel. He did not die for everybody on the earth. He only died for Israel.